Welcome to our Mystic Road Trip. I am Kim, your ever-present host, and I am a spiritual wellness coach, astrologer, and tarot reader who likes to use all of that information to help women decondition their patterns so they can find their path to their true authentic self. And that is the subject of today. But before we get into that, if you heard that, that was my cat. Before we get into that, if you would like to reach out to me, if you like what you hear, you can find me on Substack, on Instagram, TikTok, as well as Medium, and buy me a coffee if you are interested in purchasing or getting involved with one of my coaching programs or a tarot read or astrology read. All the information will be linked in the description box, so that you can find it pretty easily. And let's get started with today's topic. We are really diving into deconditioning your birth chart. I've done a few episodes where I talked about this, but I wanted to reframe it and reintroduce it and kind of dive a little bit deeper into it, right? Here's the thing. Your birth chart, everybody is like, sorry, that's my other cat. He's decided to talk. Anytime you hear that kind of stuff, it's one of the two cats. I have a girl cat and a boy cat, and they're both like to hang out with me when I do work. Anyways, your birth chart. Everybody, you can go online, you can find it, you can look at it, but really dissecting it takes a little bit deeper concentration. Your birth chart is not just a personality profile. It's really a map of patterns. And that's what I want to say. It can show you behaviors you default to, emotional responses that feel automatic, beliefs that are shaped by family, culture, and environment. And here's the part people don't always say out loud. Not everything in your chart is your truth. A lot of it is your conditioning. Things you learn to stay safe, to be accepted, to survive. Deconditioning is the process of noticing those patterns and questioning them, and choosing what actually aligns with who you are now. Like we talked about yesterday with the Socratic method, know thyself. It really is the difference between living on autopilot and living on purpose. But what is deconditioning? Let's break that down. And by the way, I have done a couple of episodes back in the back catalog where I talk about this, but as I said, I just want to touch on it again. Deconditioning is not rejecting your chart. It's just choosing to work with it consciously. Instead of just being, this is just how I am, you kind of move into, this is what I've learned, but do I want to keep it? You stop reacting by default. You're starting to choose things with awareness of what feels good with you. And sometimes that means realizing you've been playing a role that doesn't actually fit anymore or never fit. It's uncomfortable, a little bit, but it's absolutely liberating. And for me, I use a method called the 3 keys method. And that is looking at your Western astrology, your Vedic astrology, and Draconic astrology. So let's look at that. Your Western astrology, that's what most people know, shows you your personality, how it's expressed by day. Western is kind of like your conditioned patterns, habits, tendencies, behavior loops. This is your visible self, the version that people recognize, the version that often tends to run on autopilot. Then if we step into Vedic, for me, that's more I look at your karmic cycles. It's going to point to deeper repeating things across your life. Why does this keep happening to me kind of thing? And it helps reveal lessons you're meant to face, cycles that won't break until you become aware of them. This is where you start seeing patterns aren't random. They're kind of persistent teachers, and sometimes they're teachers from past generations, generational, habits, generational trauma, for lack of a better term. That's when you get the idea of generational, like you're a generational healer. That means you're meant to break those generational cycles. Then if we move to Draconic astrology, that's really your soul alignment. This is your underneath everything layer. It points to what feels natural and aligned. It's where you experience ease and flow and authenticity. It's kind of the version of you that exists without conditioning. In some aspects, maybe a truer version of yourself. And so when you understand your conditioning, you can shift things. This is where, if we go back to Hatshepsut, that's where the courage to step outside expectations come from. If we look at Socratic awareness, that's you questioning what you have always accepted. The ability for you to create these intentional rituals that actually align with who you are. You're not asking, why am I like this anymore? You're like, what do I want to do with this awareness? That's where you're going. And what this unlocks is really the power to pause before reacting and make those different choices that feel better for you. It allows you to look at those patterns that once felt so like set in stone and really rewrite them. Because awareness does one very important thing. It breaks illusions, and it breaks the illusion that you're stuck. You're just stuck with what you've been given. You can't change it. This is how it is. My mom had mental health issues, therefore I have mental health issues. And yes, some of those are genetic, but the way you react to those is very different. So you're not stuck repeating the same cycles as your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. You're not stuck repeating the cycles of every other woman in society, in your culture. You aren't stuck to those stereotypes, those labels, or anything. You can make your own path, and that is the beauty of deconditioning. So here's the thing. We got to clear something up. Your birth chart, not a prophecy. I know some people feel like it's set in stone. It's not. It is more like a guide that shows your usual routes. So you know how you get in a car and you can push this route and it just takes you the same old route? It's that. But guess what? You are the one driving, and you don't have to take that same route. You can reroute. It's your choice. And that's kind of what I wanted to say for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something from this. I really enjoyed putting this out there. As always, as I said before, if you want to reach out to me, check the description box. All the access to all of my other platforms are there. And I'm going to leave you with our reflection prompt. And here it is. Which part of your chart feels automatic or inherited rather than chosen? By the way, I'll pause. If you need to, there are tons of astrological birth charts out there, like readers. And if you do want one from me, as I said, go to buy me a coffee. Second reflection prompt. Where do you want to reclaim power over your thoughts, emotions, and actions? And what version of you might exist beyond your patterns? Think about it. Let me know. Reach out to me. I'd love to hear